Hello, everyone. Welcome to the trip. It's the Monday after a lot of just nonsense, a lot of disgustingness, and a lot of that's hopefully things will change. But we'll get into that and some more. But first, say hey there, Spencer. How are you doing?
Not too bad for a Monday. Weekend wasn't good as far as sports related. The rest of the weekend was pretty good, family and all that stuff. But
Cool.
can't have every weekend perfect.
Very true. Very true. Well, I had Tony on. Let's see if Tony was on earlier, and that's why we were. I'm going to blame it on Tony. I am going to definitely blame it on Tony. He was on, but he was, let's just say, not in the right, or his orientation was off. And now I see him, but for some reason his camera is cutting his head off. So I don't know. Man's got to work on his. Let's see if it works now. Let's see if it works. Hello, Tony.
Do you see my head now?
I can see your head now. It's not cut all the way off, but you're not centered. I don't know if that makes a difference to you, but that light behind you is really bright. So I don't know. Wow, it's like it's like a sun. It's like a sun.
I had to revert to the back camera, Gary, because I'm a bat with the front camera. Don't know what's going on.
All right, well, Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing about as well as I am when I'm flipped upside down, hanging from this camera right now.
Yeah. That's what we were dealing with. Technical difficulties. Tony was upside down, and I just didn't think this show should have been done upside down, but I don't think I'm ready for that yet. So
come on, Spencer. Spencer, you want to place a vote for upside down, Tony?
No, he doesn't get a vote. There's no vote. There's no voting. That's the problem, Tony.
We can't do that. It's a dictatorship.
Yeah, there's no voting. Not on that one, anyways. But let's say hello to BX. BX in the house. Welcome to the show. He wants a refund. What is it? Because we're a minute late. It was a minute or two before I hit the go live button, and that was because Tony was upside down.
It was not all my fault. Gary.
I don't know what he's doing now. Now he's showing you off his place. What's that all about?
I'll be right back with it, Gary.
Oh, I don't know what that means he's doing, folks. But I really don't. I don't think I want to know. Yeah, some classic Oklahoman architecture right there, Tony. So yeah, there you go. No, he's gonna. I don't know why. Don't touch the camera anymore. All right,
stay in place.
Just leave it alone. Don't touch it anymore. No. Get your fingers away. I seen him reaching for something. Oh, see, I knew it. I knew you were grabbing something. Step away from everything, please. Let's just get going. All right. I'm only smiling because I could be crying, but I think, and I believe all of us are probably we're all in the same place. I think we are probably not surprised for what we saw. Because we've been complaining about that for a while here. Got Rosie joins us. Welcome to the show, Rosie. She says, smash the like button. Yes. And Mr. Alonzo is just trying to create havoc here, but we move. All right. So here we go. Arsenal won. I wish it was Arsenal won. Damn. Let's try this again. Let's go back and try this again. Newcastle won. Arsenal nil. And I don't know about you guys, but it wasn't even that close. I mean, it wasn't even a 1-0 close the way that the game went. We got problems. And they seem to be getting worse and worse every game we play.
I think it's what I started talking about 2 years ago, Gary, is all the minutes
You're
on
not
these
the only
legs.
one that's been talking about any of this stuff that we saw this weekend.
Yeah, but I've been talking for years about it. Not just a week or two or this weekend.
Well, it was always an issue, but Arteta seemed to have doubled down. But anyway, let's get into that. But yeah, weekend's game. I actually did do a a second take of it today, and it was everything was almost this, almost that, almost this, almost that, and we'll get into that as well. But initial thoughts on the game, I think Arteta, if any of that was the instructions he was given, it was poor. Otherwise, he's got players that don't want to play for him. So, as that coach, as that phrase always says, either you're coaching it or you're letting it happen. Which one is it? Spencer, talk to me. Tell me, I guess, your initial thoughts on that game.
I mean, honestly, like, it's I think we talked about it on Saturday, but we'll do it for the Monday show. Like, my biggest thing is you can't walk the ball into the net. Like, that's the biggest thing I noticed. Like, we'll hold the ball in too long. We try to get the ball within the 6-yard line box, or we sling across it. There's nothing being shot from the top of the 18. You play 3 holding midfielders. You can't do that. There's no creativity. I mean, what I said to you on Saturday was I was more disappointed in the Bournemouth game than I was in the Newcastle game because we haven't been good there. But at the bare minimum, like, I think it was 1 shot on target in the second half. Like, there's just someone needs to just take a little ownership and just shoot the ball, man. A little deflection hit. I mean, we beat City a couple of years ago off of a deflection. Who cares how you get a goal? Find a way to get a goal. But Martinelli holds on to the ball too long. Trossard has a good game last week, but then he has a bad game on Sunday as far as I'm concerned. And I said this to you, and I've said this before. If Ethan Nowari can come on when you're down 2-0 and the chips are already crumbled and the salsa spilled on the table, and he can come on there when everything's perfect and the plates are set and the silverware is out. So if he's good enough to come on when everything's cattywampus, then he should be starting. But I just think it's a lack of creativity. Again, like I've said this to Sam on Saturday, and I think I said it to you as well. I need to see how this team responds this week. We got the Champions League, Inter Milan this week, and then you got Chelsea. I wonder if the players have quit, and that's, I hate to do that because I don't believe in the whole manager out mentality. I think it's just a quick thing football fans do because it sounds cool to say, and they want a bit of pat on their back. I have standards as a fan. Okay, cool. I don't think it's that simple, but at the same time, if the teams quit on them, Gary and Tony, like, that's, that there's tall tale signs, right? I don't think you should really fire a manager midway through the season, but if you can see that the team has quit on someone, sometimes you got to do a reevaluation. So we'll see. But otherwise, I'm just disappointed because I know the injuries have been an issue, but the lack of shots just in general. I mean, if they had peppered Newcastle with 25 shots and this was the result, okay, that happens. But you didn't have anything. There was times you could have taken an opportunity, and there's just no teeth. But that's my take on it. Just disappointed more than anything else.
I hear you. Yeah, I had a comment on some of the stuff you were saying, but you went on so long, I forgot what I was going to say.
No, it's okay.
So, no, you should be able to talk as long as you need to. Let me just say hi to a couple people before we take off. In terms of football, I've been taking L's all season, mostly on the American football side, and now it's trickled into the English side as well. So I'm going to say, yeah, it's been pretty bad. I kind of want to laugh at the Yankees, but my team sucks anyways, the Red Sox. So there you go. Where does they play in a 4-4-2? I don't know if that's going to matter. What team plays us? We've got Why Not is in the house, and I don't know if this is a kind of a rude comment there that he's got, but he's back. Welcome back to the show. Feel like it's been a while since I've seen you last. I see your next comment there. Yeah, Tony's been correct. That is crazy. Tony just left us. I don't know. I'll be back. Hello, big up, Gary. You look slimmer.
I'm near Gary, but
Yeah,
I would
it's
rather.
been a while since you.
I want to look. I want to look at you and Spencer instead of having the back of my iPad at NEWC, so you guys can watch that.
I don't know. What did he say?
Basically, we're going to stare at a puppet, but he's going to be there speaking as the puppet because of the iPad issue.
Oh, all right. I hear you. All right. I guess we'll go with that. Fulham won today. Yeah, so we'll get into the Fulham game because I looked at that game and that looked pretty. Both teams actually played pretty well.
Can we hurry up and get to me yet?
Yeah,
So
I'm not attacking you.
My
I'm not attacking you. Why not? Happy to have you on the show. Yep. Sunday could be bad. It could be bad, but we see. Lonzo got blocked. All right. Well, that's what people do. But all right, Tony, talk to me. Tell me.
First, I'm gonna just go through a few things real fast. Just shoot the thing. That's copyrighted by Gary. Cattywampus needs to be our word of the day. And Spencer mentioned the player has given up on the manager. This is fairly similar to what happened 5 years ago. We were third place going into the October break. Then in the end of November, we're at 8th. We could be in 7th or 8th at the end of a weekend. So things might just completely turned around. Meanwhile, the guy that we never got a chance, they're on top of a Champions League. So to me, the players just didn't seem like they cared again. They seem to care less again in the second half. Just I don't know what he says to him, Gary, but you're right. Whatever he says to him is the wrong thing because it does not motivate him. It doesn't get him out there with passion. And I'm still all about throwing the 17-year-old out there because guess what he brings? He brings passion and energy. And at some point, that has to be infectious.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Scrub better out. Edu is gone. You're happy to see that happen, yeah. Yeah. Yep. We definitely got we got we got managed in that game. Let's just say that. Yeah, there's so many different things to go on here. We can say a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff going on. Everything is on the table, right? Everything is on the table. And on top of that, then we got Edu leaving. As I said to somebody, pretty much this is a culmination of everything, at least that I think is wrong with the team. Starting with the ownership hiring a manager with no experience. Edu not able to close his first targets if that's what they want to do, and I think that's usually the main thing there. If there's a top target that we want to get, we don't usually get them. And then,
but that's down to so many people, though.
Yeah, but
that's the thing.
It's his department, so that's almost like saying, Arteta is having a bad day coaching, but you know what, Edu's the one supplying him with the players. We don't necessarily. At some point, you got to deal with what you got, right? And that's Arteta. For me, that's Arteta. Has he learned? Has he learned anything? Some of the big things that we talk about over and over again. Has he learned from those? If you are going to let a team sell some of your assets and you're not going to replace them, then you better make sure what you have sitting back, you can utilize them, or else you're wasting your time once again. If Nweri is next up, you should prepare him to be next up. And you can't do that under the cosh. You can't do that when it really matters. And now you're like, well, he doesn't have. I mean, I can only assume he's saying he doesn't have the experience and all of this. You knew this once you start letting these players go. You let Fabio Vieira go. You let Milsrufro go. Those are two players that could have maybe been in that position. Once you let them go, your next plan, and this is now on Arteta. The cards have been dealt. These are the cards he's got to deal with. You can't guarantee that all your players will be available. That we've been saying that from day one. You have to have a backup for everyone. Erdegaard especially, Saka especially, Saliba especially, Gabriel especially, Raya especially, Rice especially. All these players, you have to have some approach when they're not available, because they won't be available 100% of the time, mentally, physically, or just because of some stupid call that's being made. So that's why, I'm pretty much, everybody's to blame on this one. But on the weekend, Arteta knew what he had in his hand, and he screwed that up. He knew what he had. He knew what the problems have been since Erdegaard has been out. He knows what and where he can bring to the table. He brings some energy, and one of the things I think some people are scared about is what happens when Arteta does place his hands, or does start to influence in Wary. Are we going to see the same that we see from everybody else? Right?
Hope not.
We're going to see these players go from being basically almost like wildfire to like, we're going to calm you down until the point where, remember that quote from Triple X, where Samuel Jackson's telling Vin Diesel, you ever see the lions in the wild? And you can look in their eyes, and you can see those that have been domesticated, right? And those that have been wild. They were wild when they got there. Now they're domesticated, and that thing in their eyes gone.
Yep.
That's potentially what Arteta is doing to some of his players. They come in with a little bit of, like, thinking it. Calafiori comes in. I loved what I saw in the first time he came in. Just ready to go and attack from the back line. All right. So Arteta kind of calmed that down. And Wary, same thing, right? Saka is able to make it work, but Saka is a special case. I mean, in that game, I think I've been rambling on for a while, but in that game, when I watched it again, Saka was the only thing we had. The only thing we had going for us in that game. Every time he touched the ball, something positive was going to happen. And otherwise, not much. I'll let you go, Spencer, and let me just go through this chat real quick. We've only just now begun to sell for a decent amount. Yeah, it's taken a while, but that's because we finally starting to bring in decent players, right? And actually play some of these players so their worth can be shown to those out there. Gary, looking at the team, how many players do you think we need to title challenge properly? Not the Mickey Mouse stuff last couple of years. Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? I'll come back to that, and I'll let Spencer answer it when he has his say. But let's see. We have too many players that are underperforming. That's not good. Yeah. EDU was scrubbed. Yeah, we'll get into that as well. But Spencer, I'll let you answer this. But for me, we're a striker. We're either a striker or some sort of influence on the attack away from what we want to be. Because if you put Saka next to somebody, either all the way across the field or right next to him in the middle of the goal, things will happen. I know this. Spencer, I'll let you.
So I actually, my take is I think we're 2 players away, maybe 3. And I think you need a backup for Odegaard. If in worry, I'll get to what you were saying earlier, because my takeaway is if we were losing and Ethan Nworry was playing and we were, putting forth our best effort and the performances were looking a little better, I would probably feel less about this. But because things have looked flat, you continue to do the 3 holding midfielders. And, Martinelli, like, that's the guy I'm looking at where he has a good game, then he has a dud. Like, that's what we really need is we need an elite left wing, something that mirrors Saka on the other side. And Martinelli is one of those players. I think they paid $7 million for him back when they got him. You probably could flip him now for 40, 50 million. I'm not saying he should move on exactly, but he needs better competition. He needs someone that can either take him under his wing, another left wing that's a little bit more, I guess, of the world-class quality to say, hey, look, man, this is how it's done. You're dribbling too far. Like mentorship. I don't know if it's there because Havertz is your guy in the middle. He performs. Saka performs. Odegaard, when he's out there, he performs. There's something missing on the attack. I look at Gabriel and Saliba; they do their bit. I think Rice does good as well. Partey's played out of this world, I think, this year. But again, my argument with that is the fact that now there's competition because when Odegaard comes back, where does Thomas Partey go? Might go to the bench. So now all of a sudden he's healthy again. He's playing. I just don't know if we have competition at certain positions that really. And I'm not sitting here and saying that Gabriel Martinelli's not trying. I don't think that's completely accurate, but I think sometimes his approach of attack is let me dribble around, and maybe all of a sudden now the goal's here, and I've dribbled all the way around, and now I have this little angle right here. Well, why didn't you just cut in and be more direct? So I think it's about 2 to 3. I think if we're honest, and that's probably at least one starter and two. I'd say attacking players, because my argument then comes down to this: is spelling Smith Rowe was the right move because he wasn't going to stay healthy. He stayed healthy with Fulham, okay, so far, but he shouldn't have let Vieira go. That's the one that makes me kind of like, I get you don't rate him, but you spent. I think there was a tweet that came out with the 10 players that they had purchased, and the worst one is obviously Nicolas Pepe, but the biggest other one that had a massive price tag next to it was was Vieira. And it's like, you've given up on him. You got to find something for him to do. But my opinion's 3. And people are going to say 5, 6, 1. There's going to hear different opinions on that. I just think you got to go back to the 4-4-2 you were doing in that week when you played Tottenham, Atalanta, and City. If you're not, and then just run 2 strikers up top. But again, not everybody's going to give you – you're not going to always play a team that has a go for you. So, look at the games we played the best since Odegaard's been out. Tottenham, City, and Liverpool, top 6 sides that are going to have a go at you. Other teams aren't going to have a go at you. They're going to sit back and say, okay, you got 3 holding midfielders out there. Good luck breaking us down. And now I think we've always discussed this. What's the issue that this team has? Breaking down the low block teams. They can go hand to hand with City. They can go hand to hand with Liverpool, United, Pick'em, Chelsea. We'll see good performances, I think, the next 2 games because we're going to see teams that are going to have a go at Arsenal, and Arsenal are going to be able to have that exploit open space. It's the low blocks. That's the problem now. You don't have that linchpin. And you said you rewatched the game. I didn't get a chance to rewatch it because I just can't do it sometimes when we lose. But if you watch when Newori came in there was a lot of passes in his area. If he makes those runs, he's got it. Like, it's there. He just needs to play. Play the man. Play the kid. He's 17. I don't care. Play him. I'd rather fail with the young kids than do a defeatist mentality of 3 holding midfielders. That's just me. And I'll stop rambling, but go ahead, Gary and Tony, or whoever's next.
Tony. You can. I don't know if you remember what I was saying. I don't even remember what I was saying. But why not? It's got a question here as far as where we are right now.
I think the answer is a minimum of 4. You need a world-class striker.
No such thing.
There's
no such thing.
You can go there and pay the money to get one.
There isn't one. There isn't a world-class striker that you can go out there and buy. I think I'm fighting you for no reason, but go ahead, Tony. Sorry.
But anyway, then you buy a elite winger. You buy an attacking midfielder and a defensive midfielder, because you look at the age of Partey, he probably won't be along too much longer. So Jorginho doesn't seem to be in favor of Arteta. And it just, I think that's the minimum. You can make a case where you might need a better backup goalkeeper, because I don't know if you want Raya playing in all these competitions or not, but he's probably going to once you start advancing further through them. But striker's a criminal one. Another criminal is not having the backup for Odegaard. I don't think Vieira was ever good enough. Yeah, he gives you a choice if he's there. But the problem is Vieira leaves. Do we bring in a replacement? No. EDU leaves. Do we bring in a replacement? No. And that's been contagious. So that's why Arteta's finally going to the young players, because there are no other options. He's made the team even thinner and smaller, where you look at the bench and you just don't have that plan B. You have Guarneri, which Arteta doesn't seem to fancy or want to go with. I've always said it, and I agree with Spencer here. I would rather go with the young kids, give a hell of an effort, and if you lose at the end of the day, you lose at the end of the day, but you gave it your all. You look at these players, you look at their body language. I mean, they've been running the ground. I don't think they believe in the techniques that Arteta's trying to play. I'm not sure they like the 4-4-2, which probably is one of the better positions for him, since he won't go with a back three, since he likes to push those two fullbacks forward. But I think easily 4. I think anything else isn't enough, because you just keep letting these guys go and you don't bring in the guy that is better than them or just somebody to replace them. So that's where I stand on it.
I hear you.
Gary, can I mention one name? I know you're going to rebuttal him, but Gabriel Jesus, $265K a week. What's he doing? I mean, I know he's had the health issues, and I know when he first showed up, it was really good. But, and I don't really think it's fair to throw wage into a player, and I know I just did that. But part of me also feels like, man, like there's something missing with him. He's not the same since the injury. You're one of the top earners at the club, and it's just, you know what I mean? Like because I do agree that we need another backup striker or starter, whatever you want to do. Roll with Havertz and someone else. I don't care at this point. But I just, Jesus to me is more beneficial on the wings. But when I watch him, like him and Sterling, there's just, Sterling's a deal based on what we got him for and what the wage is and everything. That's a deal. I'm not going to deny that. But there's something missing with Jesus. It just hasn't been right since the injury. But no, I'll let you go back to you, Gary. But that's just a name I forgot to throw out there that I'm kind of disappointed at, and probably being unfair on him at the same time. But you're one of the top earners at the club, and I need you to step up, be a leader. Like if you're gonna get that wage, like at the high wages, Dak Prescott, $60 million quarterback, be the leader, right? Like with money comes more responsibility. So he's. Yeah, I mean, like BX says, if he's not scoring or assisting, what are you here for?
Yeah. Tony, you were going to say something?
I was just first comment. I think his two sideward eyebrows speak volumes. He seems like he's out of his element. And my first thing I was going to say, he looks 4 or 5 years older than he is. He looks like a player that's 31, kind of on their downhill ascent as an attacker, and we've never got the money for him. I don't think you got that half of the year with him and Zinchenko. That little bit of leadership helped, but as far as what they do, they don't deliver. You go out there and you go for another former player that Arteta coached, Sterling. Sterling's not giving you anything. So you go to your bench, you look at it, and all your true options are the young kids. You look at that left back position, and to me, you probably would start Skelly. You look at the midfield, and you would say you start Laneri, and that's just Arteta's got us there. That's why I'm kind of getting rid of these players or the coaches before they have a chance to go out and buy 2 more players. But yeah, I agree. I think Jesus is you're making that looks money. I think the money does matter in that event. You're what you signed for. That's between the clubs. That's not on you. But if you're earning the wages like that, you got to do it some way, even if it just has a great influence as a kid on the kids. That's good enough for me. But going out there doing nothing, seeming totally uninterested, and you're seeing that look on more and more players' faces. If we lose this weekend, then we know we lost the locker room. It's time to make a change.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, there's a. I'll try to go through as much as I can. Why Not's got like 8 players. I always used to say, we're 10 players off, and I could probably find 10 players that we could replace. But some of that is injuries concerned. Some of that is the way they're being actually used, and I think that comes down to the philosophy that Arteta has and the decision making. That where is that? Somebody mentioned something about decision making, but I think the reason why I don't think we don't need. I don't think we're missing that many players because I don't feel like there aren't answers or ways of playing that will get us through these games. I mean, think about it. Brighton game, you go down a man, you have a lead. You cannot. You have to play a lot more disciplined. They should not be able to get the ball through the middle like they did. That's nothing to do with. No player's going to fix that. That's kind of that for me is how the coaches set the team up mentally. I think physically they can do it. We've seen it, but mentally they just weren't prepared for that, and they need to be. City, 30 seconds of deflection, and we get scored on. That's just disappointing. We played so hard. We just had to get past one corner, and we see that thing out. Liverpool once again up late in the game, give up a goal. Bad situations, bad things happen, and then we just get caught out. Those for me show me that it's not that just we're not missing one player because that's 6 points dropped. 3 games, 6 points dropped. We're sitting 5 points off the lead, right? And we were in winning positions. You have to close those games out. That's a mentality thing. That isn't a talent thing. We're not missing the talent. We got it. We got to those positions just like that. And then when you get into like the Bournemouth and this recent Newcastle game, the Bournemouth one, we still should have been able to at least compete in that game, as opposed to seem like we rolled over. In Newcastle, it's almost like we just forgot how to play some football there. So for me, like I said, I think the performance needs to improve, and if when the performance improves, we'll be better off. That's why I don't think it's that many players are required, but I can find 10. Right, we've got issues all across the board, but I think Arteta has to take some of the blame with what we have because I think we have players, we have answers, we're not using them. You need to score. You need to score a goal, right? You need to score a goal. You've got Sterling and Nweri on the bench. You don't really go to them with any kind of confidence, is what I see. All right. but you need them, but you don't go to them. Why? All right. If you bring in Sterling in, I don't care if it's just the last second deal. You don't bring him in and waste a spot. Use him. All right. And where he's sitting on the bench ready to go, use him. He needs to start. The 30 minutes that he got, half of that was cut short because every team that plays us knows that with about 15 minutes to go, we're not going to force the issue as much as we have in the past. I watched a team today down one in Fulham continue to put the foot down every chance they got, pressed high with all the players that they got. And you know what? And we can't say we can't press because we don't have Erdegaard. They're not pressing with players like Erdegaard, right? All the players were contributing to this. Every time you look, there was 1 and 2 white shirts attacking Brentford, right? Putting the pressure on, and they eventually went to the bench, brought in some fresh legs, and the man scored his first and second goal of his career or the season. I can't remember which one it was, right? Huh. We've seen Trossard do that so many times for us, right? But we want to start him. I think a lot of the decisions are hurting our strengths, and that's the problem. So, yeah, and I don't look to the wages. I think at some point you have to just go out there and just go ahead and get to play the best players on the pitch, and we're not doing that either. I always I like the saying, just play your best 11. Who cares what they make? And where he should have got minutes already. We shouldn't be, because now what's going to happen, and this is moving on, I guess. Got Ozzy Gooners in the house. Welcome to the show, Steven. It's been a while since I've seen you here. I know, what time is it? It's early morning. It's early morning for you, right? Or it's going to be. So welcome to the show. But I feel like at some point what's going to happen is, oh wait, Erdegaard is practicing now. So guess what? It's going to be time for he's going to have to go to the bench, and that's the worst thing you can do. Because if you're talking about punishing him by having him go out there and not look and underperform, what happens when Erdegaard comes back and you basically relegate him to the bench, and then what do? Send him off? Like, for me, that's like, are you kidding me? He's been one of the brightest lights you've had coming, into the squad this season. Brenny's in the house. Welcome to the show, Brenny. Thanks for joining us. But it's the middle of the day. Okay. Sorry. It's the middle of the day. Okay. Aaron. Okay. I didn't. Is that 13? Is that 14 hours? That's not. Is that what is that? You said lunchtime. That means it's like 16 hours ahead of us. Cool. I don't know what this means. I don't know. Anybody know what that means? I don't. But nah. Like I said, this is why now it can't be any more players that we're missing. Arteta knows these guys. He went out and got all these guys. He's been playing with these guys for a while now. If he doesn't know their talents, then that's on him. The only new players coming in are the Calafiores, the Morenos, and maybe the Nweris, but he knows of an Nweri because he's brought his name up saying we gave him that 15 seconds of fame because we saw something in him. So I'd be surprised that he has no clue what this kid can offer, and that's why he's holding back. You know what I mean? So that's why I think a lot of this is on Arteta. He's got to play these players and play them in the right positions at this point. As you guys said, Partey playing right back is hurting us in the midfield. I don't know. Secure the football in front of our back line and worry about Partey playing a right back. You know what I mean? As I said, worst case scenario, you just put Saka there. I know that's risky, but that's crazy. But at some point, you gotta play. I don't think Partey playing right back is a good answer for what we need.
Well, I'll say this much, Gary. So you're talking about Saka because I was going to come back and you mentioned. So I'll divvy back on this first point. You said play the best 11. the money they paid you says you're part of the best 11. So my point with Jesus is you need to perform is to not give Arteta a chance for you not to be in that best 11. But obviously he's not performing that. So we need to have the best 11, start the best players regardless of salary, period. But my thought process also is, you could put Zach at left back. You could put him at right back or whatever you want to do and open him up and let him play a little more freely in the field. And then you could place Jesus on the wing. You could play Sterling on the left. You could play Martinelli. You know what I mean? Like if lack of goals is the issue, like we're just getting extra defensive. Like I do think defense wins championships. Don't get me wrong, but you have to score at least a goal, right, to get the 3 points. With that being said, there's just the whole Ethan Nowari thing. That's where I can't wrap my head around it. And I've said this until I get blue in the face. People are probably tired of hearing it. If you can bring him on when you're down 1 or 2-0, you can start him because you're not giving him a clean canvas to work with. You're like, hey, look, man, there's a fire in the kitchen now. Let me break this little emergency fire extinguisher and throw you out there. And maybe you'll work. I don't know. I don't know what class fire it is, but you might be able to put out a metal fire, class D fire. Probably not. But my point is, at the end of the day, like, start the damn man. You know, like the Odegaard injury, and that's where I think to me that's where we're losing it in the So yeah, I don't know. But
I'm gonna echo now. What happened? Is that me? Is that me? Sounds like me. I don't know what I did.
Might be you.
All right. Let me go ahead. I'll mute myself.
Yeah. So still me. But yeah. So let's see what happens.
I'm just going to mute Tony just real quick here and see if
go
ahead.
3 of us.
It's Tony.
Yeah, I think it was Tony.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry. So I rambled on there because I can't hear myself talk and talk at the same time. Jesus, no wonder I wouldn't listen to me talk. But that's the one I just can't wrap my head around. But I, again, like whether we think Arteta should go or not, I do ultimately hold him responsible for how things have gone right now. There is a culpability on injuries and staying healthy, and there is a culpability on the players for not playing the game the way they should. And what I mean by that is taking opportunities, trying to make something happen. I'm
Uh-oh, he froze on me. Oh, he just froze. He froze mid-chat. Let me just see it.
Hopefully he's okay.
Your mic was having problems, Tony. Well, until he comes back.
I said it looked like he has a heart attack where he's grabbing his chest there.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is true.
I'm coming, Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
No, red fox.
Yeah. No, I get the two. Yeah, I don't. Right now, I'm at the point where I don't care about what you make. I care about having 11 players that can actually play a style of football that can get us a win. And that might be sitting somebody who's a starter. I think I've even heard somebody say if Erdegaard comes back and you find and Partey's playing in the middle, and the answer is somebody else besides Rice, maybe you do it. I know it sounds crazy, but I think at some point you need to find something. Whatever we're doing now is not working. Definitely that midfield that we have right now with Moreno and Rice and I don't know if it's Trossard or whoever they're putting in that kind of bringing onto the pitch that kind of just weakens us is not working. So, you're not winning games because of that setup. So you need to change it. But Arteta, We'll wait until it works. Well, guess what? You're losing. You're dropping points. You're dropping points. We can't be having that. You're dropping points every game. You're dropping points, and maybe you can make it back up, but you're gonna have to be clicking. And Erdegaard coming back doesn't guarantee us anything for at least a month, in my eyes. Maybe a month before he's back to where the form he needs.
I always feel like it's 6 to 8 weeks for him to get fully match fit, fully clicking again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
So I'm not sure what type of training he's doing now. I don't know if he's into contact training or he's training on his own or what's going on.
No, I hear you. No, yeah, I think everybody's waiting for Erdegaard to come back, thinking that's the thing, and I'm saying to myself, no. We're gonna have to learn how to play. We're gonna have to learn how to play football without. Sometimes that's why you have a squad. Erdegaard's having a bad day. You have to be able to replace him, right? You should replace him and not take an L because he's not playing well, right? He's not sick. If he's sick or whatever, he's injured. You got to have an answer. Let's see if this works. Are you back? Can't
His
hear
eyes
you.
are moving.
You know, he's blinking, but he's not saying it. He's not saying anything.
Oh, we're back.
I'm sitting there like, is he playing jokes with us?
No, it's gonna freeze again. But we're back. We're back, and where were we?
You were in mid chat, and I was letting you go, and then I forgot. I think we've just been dumping out everything we can think of in this game, in the process that Arteta has taken us through right now. I mean, like my I guess my latest thing is, even if Erdegaard comes back, Martin comes back, he won't be good day one. I mean, he's just starting to practice, which means he's going to have to get his legs, right? He's not going to be ready to go 90, is he?
Nope.
Erdegaard is going to take time, and I think that's why Nweri should be playing already, so that you can bring Erdegaard in and have him come off the bench, for example, when he starts up. Like, that's what teams with a squad would do, right? You would play the player that's supposed to back up whoever's out, and you play them. And when other players are ready to come back, they're on the bench. I mean, KDB's on the bench now, right? Because if they needed him, they go get it. They'll use him, right? They can use him. That's where Erdegaard needs to be. He's not Xhaka. Xhaka breaks a knee, gets his leg torn off and reattached, and he's back starting out the next week. That's not what I'm saying with Erdegaard, and I think it's going to take some time. So I think we should be using our second left 8 or right 8? Right 8. We should be using him the right way. We might find that he's the answer. We might find that he's the answer.
You don't know until you try, Gary.
Yep, 7:30 p.m. on the Eastern Coast, man. You know that. You know what time it is. But Tony Erdegaard.
Stan's been calling it for a year and a half, 2 years. What do you do when Odegaard's gone?
No, yep, no, he's gone. So now what? Because we're finding out now.
Now you see the answer. Where he can do it. I mean, for a while you're having Trossard do that, and he was having success. Might want to try to go back.
Is he having success as Erdegaard's replacement, or in a different formation?
It was pretty close to.
It's not close. The requirements and the expectation and the role is not the same, is it, Tony?
I don't think it's that big of a gap.
Is Trossard helping our attack and creating for the pass before the pass?
He's helping with the pass because he is a very good passer.
But is he helping? Look at our attack with Trossard up in that position. Where do you feel our attack is?
Saka.
Well, I'm not talking about Saka is the only answer we got. I'm talking about Trossard, who's supposed to replace Erdegaard. Is it working?
I think he's the one. You've seen it with body language this year. You've seen it last year. I think he's the number one that feels he isn't being deployed the way he needs to be deployed. Wasn't getting starts and stuff. But I think you got to go with Nawari. You've seen glimpses of it. And at this point, what do you have to lose? And we were calling it a month ago, Gary, or even probably longer than that ago at this point. We were saying that he needed to get his chances in there before Odegaard came back, because if Odegaard comes back, then he's not playing there unless he's coming in for Martinelli. And do we know that where he can play on the left side or not? I don't know. But I think you definitely got to go with Nawari. You've had these weeks with these games. And yesterday is one of those where you should experiment and start Nawari, but you didn't. You got caught with your pants down for third time this season or more. Arteta doesn't adapt. It just, I don't know. You gotta go with what looks good on the pitch. To me, Nawari looks good.
No, I hear you. And the one thing that we brought up, right, and I looked at this this morning. Trossard played really well last season at the end, right? As a left wing.
Six goals in 10 starts.
Yeah, so like him, left wing, right? That's when Martinelli's out. That's what he did late in the season. Not as an 8, not as a 10. So I feel like for me, I'd rather put Saka there. And think about that. If Saka was to play in that middle area, he'll probably get more touches on the ball in positions that will help us open up the game a little bit more. I mean, Saka is always the answer for me, but play him on the right wing. There's not much happening on the left wing, but if you play him through the middle, maybe he has a little bit more. He'll have a little bit more influence on the game. But it's Spencer Erdegaard. What say you?
What do you mean? Like, do I think he's gonna?
Like everybody's saying, let's wait for Erdegaard to come back.
You can't do that. You're gonna have to. Someone's gonna have to step up. I mean, we've talked about who the answer is, and it's Ethan Nawari. So we're blue in the face on it. But Odegaard will come back, and will he be back to 100% immediately? No. But I mean, we need him back. You need someone with a little creativity. Again, and when it comes down to this, I mean, Martinelli needs to step up. The left wing needs to step up. Jesus needs to step up. You can't rely on Saka, Havertz, Rice, and Saliba and Gabriel to push us through. Like, other players have to step up. You need people to stay healthy. I mean, Calafiori was a freak incident, right? I mean, I can understand that. But Tomiyasu, like, what's up, man? I mean, this has been the constant same injury. I'm hearing rumors of knee tendinitis or something, or knee tendinitis. I mean, what's up? I mean, Tierney's still on this roster. I mean, granted, he's injured and he's probably still not part of Arteta's plan, but you're spending money on him. So, man, there gets a point where it's just people need to step up. We can talk about the manager and he's ultimately culpable for some of these decisions. Players still have to step up too. To me, it's a failure of the whole organization. Players, ownership, and manager, that we're on this slip right now. And this is, and I'm not just talking about the loss Saturday. I'm going back to the red cards. Rice. I'm going back to Trossard. Saliba. You blame Trossard for that situation there too. Where's the discipline? You know, you're playing Bournemouth away. Saliba, let the guy go. We can make that up. You know, like we're not playing City, and that was a one chance. So there's just a lot of things in the organization in general that I'm not very happy with right now. The vibe is different. It feels different when we watch them play compared to last year. But I think one of the big successes we had 2 years ago was the fact that Martinelli was pulling his weight and scoring goals. I think that's where my concern also was. We're not getting much production from the left wing. And I know I'm picking on Martinelli specifically, but I mean, Saka can't do everything. Havertz can't do everything. You know, Trossard's a good 12th man, or real good 12th man. And when you start Trossard, you start Martinelli, you start Havertz, you start Saka, at least Jesus and Sterling as your answers on the bench with Ethan Nowari. But I don't know. Again, let's see how this week goes.
Yeah, I mean, that right there is just about balance, right? You got Saka on one side, Martin on the other side, and you know what you're going to get on the right hand side, the left hand side.
Yeah,
whatever he's being asked to do or whatever he's allowed to do isn't working. Tony, you still there? I don't know.
Yep,
He's talking to this whatever this figurine thing is.
It's a Batman gigantic pop, Gary.
Yeah. Whatever that thing is. Whatever that thing is.
The Michael Keaton version, if you look at the tool belt, and that's a little insignia. Yes, Gary. What
I was talking about Martinelli because that seems to be like, I don't know. Is there somebody else besides Martinelli that could play left?
You got Trossard that can play in that position.
Yeah, he's excelled at that position. He's excelled at that position.
I just remember it's probably 3 weeks back now, maybe 4, where the commentators were talking about that he just needed help there. Kind of looked at it as depth there because he was more of the left midfielder because that's when we were playing the more stringent 4-4-2, and he just doesn't work out there. I think Trossard, you seen it earlier in the season, the different teammates because he times this runs, go through multiple players. Yeah, maybe he doesn't have the afterburners that Martinelli has, but he's got the football IQ that at this point, for whatever reason, Martinelli hasn't developed the way it should be. He should be further ahead than he is. I don't know if he's one of those that feels like he's being deployed in a wrong role or whatever is clouding his mind. I'm not sure what it is, but he needs to figure it out because he's a detriment to the team out there on the left. Hasn't done what he should be. I mean, at this point, I'm probably putting Trossard out there because Martinelli's just not doing it. And like I said earlier with Naira, you're at this point where you got to do something. You got to tinker, or you're going to be screwed the rest of the season. So I don't care if it costs you 4 or 5 points. You're going to have to figure it out now, not in March. You got to figure it out now so you can get the form going into the holiday fixture. They pile up fast then. You got more of the League Cup coming in the new year, more of the Champions League coming in the new year. You got the FA Cup, so you're going to be playing every 2 to 3 days. You're going to be playing 3 times a week. So you have to figure out what works. And they're just these players that Arteta has seemed to forgotten that exist. I mean, Jorginho, I'm pretty sure that's his first appearance of the season. I mean, the midfield's been a problem, so why do you wait so long for him? But just with Martinelli, he's not doing good enough. Whether it's the way he's being coached, the way he's being deployed, or just something else in his mind, you probably need to take the hook, pull him out, give him a game or two to think about things, and then see where he is then. But it's time for him to hit the bench.
I'm with you on that. Like, something needs to change, and that's on. Once again, this is all on Arteta. It's all on Arteta, and even if that means formation change. I mean, we've got so many fullbacks out and whatnot. Maybe you can't just play a 4 at the back. You know, maybe you can't. You know, maybe you can't play a 4 at the back because you don't have the numbers, but you can play other things. We've seen him play different ways, but yeah, Martinelli, Trossard, that kind of I think the numbers say left wing for Trossard if he's going to start, or off the bench. All right, that's where he's been most important to us, and we're not doing either of them, so we're not getting the same out of him. Yeah, until Calafiori or Timber is healthy. I mean, Timber, I think he's fine, but is he fully back? I don't know. So, yep. But we shall probably move on for this game. We can ramble on about it. It was a bad showing for us. What, Tony?
Is it time for much ado about nothing?
I don't know. What do you mean by that? Because maybe I don't know what that saying is to you.
I'm just using ado in there. Much ado.
You just what?
Nothing. I'm just putting ado into much ado about nothing.
Oh, yes. That's where I was going anyways. That's where I was going.
Sorry, that one went over your head.
Yeah, it did. It went over me. You got me, Tony. So let's go. Yep. So now we move on. Yep. Edu, this morning, I was just about to jump on the Peloton, and I was checking the YouTube channels, and one of them was talking about Edu being gone. I find it.
Did that kill you doing any more on the Peloton, Gary? Did you hit it after that?
Well, let's just say it made me a little bit late because I was kind of rambling on, chatting in the chats about it. But Edu leaving for, pretty much leaving because he wants to get promoted, and it sounds like he's getting paid to leave. Is we talked about would Arteta leave to go somewhere better after what either he has done enough here or he has a better opportunity. In Edu's case, it sounds like a better opportunity, but it sounds like he may have got shunned for a similar position in house. I think I would he hadn't finished his job. He got us, as I was saying to somebody, he basically has built the roof and the walls, but we're missing some windows and doors, and it's getting chilly. It's getting chilly in here, and that's what we're seeing right now. We might have all the pieces, but there's a couple of things missing that you don't spend too much money on, but they're showing up and causing problems for you. But Edu leaving, I don't know if that's good or bad. Probably bad because in the sense that we're going to have to now replace him and try to figure out how to get somebody to do his job if they're not already in house. Will they go out there and get the best? Right? We've been asking for that every once in a while. Arsenal, can you go out there and get the best of whatever we need? I don't know what the best is.
We're slowly looking at the option, but that's not an option anymore because that is self and trouble, and that's over Mars.
Yeah, well, that's just not a good look, I think, for the team. We
But
know at least if Arteta doesn't really like to deal with those types of things and be able to handle those types of things, that it's probably not going to be they're not going to want he's not going to want that guy as his boss probably. But yeah,
I feel like that's something that Bergkamp can do because he's been in charge of youth development and full team development and stuff. He's had multiple roles. I think he could come in and do that. I think it's better if you go get somebody known to the club. Maybe the players will look up to with Dennis, they get to see him with a statue outside the stadium. So, I mean, it's one of those things. And I mentioned it, I think Thursday and yesterday, that we still need to figure out football director. We're still missing 2 board seat members because 2 people died and we never replaced them. That you need that hierarchy that can kind of tell you, hey, things are going the wrong way. But I think you only have a few people there that are telling you that, and they're most likely related to the owners. So it's definitely time. I think we needed to make this change anyway. It kind of feels like at the timing, it feels like a sacrificial lamb when maybe Arteta needs the one to be hooked out of there, because to me, a dude's done good with lots of the signings. I'm not sure if he has a final say on that or Arteta how that works, but as far as these more unknown players, he's done well on those. The name players, maybe not so much, but I thought we hired that lawyer guy to be the guy in charge of player acquisitions, whatever his freaking title was. I
he's
can't
like a
remember.
managing director now, so I don't even think he's doing any kind of football operations type stuff.
Yeah, I think the change needed to be made.
Yep.
But
No, the news is Edu left. It isn't that Arsenal let him go. I think, at least the message that I believe is that Edu has wanted to go for a while now, and Arsenal hold on to him, which I think, hey, you guys I'm not never been in management, but if somebody comes to you and says I want to leave, why do you hold on to them sometimes?
Because you don't know who the replacement is. That's what happens, I think, a lot of times.
You're supposed to have that answer in your pocket day one. That's that I remember that from a CEO or somebody in higher management basically said, I know who I'm replacing before I have to make
I
that
had
decision.
a conversation with someone today, and this is getting personal, and I was told, hey, make sure your replacements are good to go because you might be moving on upwards. So it's that I'm saying, like, companies keep people around. Do you know what I mean? Like, hey, we'll do X to keep you around. I don't think it's completely the right answer for a club the size of Arsenal, right?
Nope.
But I also understand why corporations and businesses do what they do, because they don't want to lose a competent person if they feel they're competent. And the argument between people are going to say, well, Edu did X, Y. Okay, whatever. All right, great. But the problem that I think we've had, and this is maybe the setup here that I think that's been kind of the failure of the club, is that you need an experienced manager or you need an experienced sporting director. You can't have novices at both. I think that's a recipe for disaster. Somebody in the hierarchy here has to know what's going on or have been doing it for a long time. That's just my opinion. You look at the NFL, most teams don't have a rookie manager and a rookie head coach. They try to figure out a way to balance that out. Very rarely do you see the GM head coach model. That was Bill Belichick, Parcells. Those guys did that. But the reality is you need to have that mixture of experience, vice, non-experience. I mean, ideally, you want both experienced. But if you're going to go rookie, you need someone to counterpart that's a mentor for that person.
Yep.
And yeah, some of the selling under Edu hasn't been the greatest, but we don't even rate the players that some of them. You know what I mean?
A lot of the selling has been poor, and
this was his best window as far as selling.
And then he's out, right? So it's what did we miss? Did we miss? Like he wanted out. I always feel like it's like sometimes when a player says, should I retire? They already did, but they come back, and then you see how it is. Most of the time, it doesn't finish off too strong. He wanted out. Arsenal held on to him, and then what? Some people would say this last window selling was good, but what we brought in not so good because it didn't answer a lot of the questions that we had going into the window. All right, it didn't. It's just the same old thing. We're just going to defend. All right, but are we going to actually ever win a game 2, 3, 4-0? On a consistent basis against a big team. You know what I mean? So I kind of felt like, yeah. He wanted to leave. Sometimes you just let him go. Like those teams that you as managers and coaches that you've talked about. Somebody wants to leave, then they're gone. They don't want to hold on to them because guess what? Are you going to get the 100% that you were getting when they wanted to be here?
I mean, Tom brings up a good point though. Our fan base has been shitting on Edo for years, and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Rice situation. He was having a beer last year, and people were tweeting at him. We had dorks in our fan base tweeting at him. Why aren't you buying players? It's like, I don't know, man. Look, Edo's made some mistakes. That is, we can sit here and go to the selling and what's been good and what's been bad.
Yeah,
100% not going to disagree. But he's made some good deals too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think here's where Edu's going to get judged. If this crop of players find a way to win, let's say, a title this year or next year, you're probably going to look at Edu a little differently, especially if like Rice has an impact on it or Saliba, whoever, just pick it, right? The players that he's brought in, if those players have an impact, then I think you're going to think differently of Edu. But again, I think that's probably a 2-year window with him. I think going either way. And I don't think Arteta has an impact on whether Edu's looked at properly or not.
Well, I think Arteta definitely, for me, influences the way that Edu's looked at because I, like I said already, I felt like we have a lot of the answers that we need now. We're not managing them and coaching them up the right ways. So as far as we're concerned, Edu didn't get it right because Arteta can't get these guys to do whatever he wants them to do.
Well, let's say Arteta gets relieved. Let's just say in the summer they finish 4th. People are like, hey, you're done. They bring in someone else and they win something that year. You're still going to look at Edu as some of the players he brought in. Yeah. That's my point. There is a marriage between Edu and Arteta, 100%. Those two are intertwined at the hip, right? No question. Mm-hmm. But if Arteta gets rolled out, there's still culpability with Edu because he's bought some of these players. And you're hoping that the new manager, if there is a new manager, I'm not saying Arteta out or any of that bullshit, but the reality is if there's a new manager that does come in, Edu's players are still here, right? And whoever it is going to have to figure out a way to make those players work. So I think the Edu legacy is going to probably end up being a mixed bag if we're forecasting in the future. Because I still think this team can win a cup, whether it's FA Cup, League Cup, Champions League's tough. I mean, Real Madrid's a monster. The league, 7 points out. It's not trending in the right direction. We've been talking about it for about an hour now. But silverware is going to judge him more than anything else. And the club's going to have to find a culpable replacement. And I don't I don't know who that is. I'm not privy. We don't have Brownie around to give us names that he might know in the football world. And I say that and I kid. We love you, Brownie. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this leads. I think transitional period. I know Edu chose to leave, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Forest ownership is a pretty wealthy owner. They've been trying to stay up in the Premier League and they've been successful. And now look, they're in 4th place as of right now. I don't know how that'll finish, but there's a wealthy owner there. There is football heritage there. They've won 2 European championships, the Champions League or whatever you want to call them, European Cups. So I don't think it's a promotion for him, but it's a different challenge.
No, it's definitely a promotion. He's not director of football for Nottingham Forest. He's in charge of director of football for that conglomerate, which happens to now own 2 teams. And I assume means they're gonna.
Because that's the one that owns Olympiacos too, right?
Yeah, Olympiacos and Nottingham Forest, and it's
in that theory, it definitely is a
promotion.
promotion.
It's a promotion, and my understanding is it's more money, like significant amount of money that made it easy to say yes.
I'm leaving. Yeah.
So
I was talking about club stature. That's what I was more talking about.
No, he's above clubs now. You know what I mean? He's not like in charge of a piece of the club. He's ahead of that. He's in charge of a conglomerate of clubs. They only happens to be 2.
They probably don't tweet at him as much too in that position.
Yeah, no. So is he involved in the day to day as much? Probably not. They own 3 teams and looking to buy a 4th. So yeah. So it's a promotion. It's a promotion, and it is and I think he was looking. I believe he was looking for that at Arsenal and wasn't going to get it. Some of the moves that Arsenal's made this time has shown that things are changing. Like you said, for me, once he said I'm looking to leave, even if you hold on to him, the answer should already be in that place. There should be an envelope closed that you pull out in a case of emergency, like he finally does leave. And you have a plan for that, because this isn't something that just happened yesterday. This has happened months ago. So Arsenal would have known eventually he's probably going to leave. And even if there's a threat of it, you have to have an answer for it as soon as it happens.
They probably have someone in mind. I imagine we'll probably hear something in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it needs to happen soon because the January window's coming. Tony, what you got?
I'm just saying this happened in the first weekend of November. It looked like Arsenal got caught with their pants down because the timing just is bizarre. You try to do that before the season starts, or maybe even during the winter window, which you still don't really like. But it's one of those things. They should have a replacement in mind. If they don't, that's even worse on the club. And like I said, it's like you're short on board members there. Yeah, 2 of them passed away. Never replaced them. To me, you still look and you go to probably a former Arsenal player to do that, if you think one could do it. But I don't think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
But timing's so weird. It's just.
Yeah, I think if I believe I'm correct on this one, or at least this is the working theory. Edu would have left sooner, but Jonas leaving, being let go from the women's team, would have looked bad to have Edu leave right around that same time. So I think that's another thing that we have to keep in mind. Arsenal doesn't like to push out, the sky's falling, stuff like that, all at once. So I think that's another thing that did happen, is that Jonas being gone, they're looking for a women's coach. Edu wanting out, and they have to have a replacement for that. I think those two happening the way they did is related. Is related. And you know what, Mr. Tom, if Furpo is not interested, guess what? It was never even a thought. I kind of have to agree sometimes with Lonzo here on this one, but yeah, no, it's not. It wasn't going to happen. Furpo is not that man. Yeah, not that man. Yeah, the window coming up short. I think I just don't get how you can't sell Sesko on what we were offering. I don't get that one. I don't like that. For me, that's the closing, and that's supposed to be EDU, right? You're getting Champions League football. You're playing in a team that's got Erdogan right behind you. Got Saka off to your right. Come on.
I mean, ironically, with the Sesko, no one sold him except the club he was with. So that's really the caveat there. And I know people sit there and say they watched some of the European Championships and they weren't impressed. Okay. I mean, he played for what, Slovenia? I mean, I can't name a lot of players on that team. And if you can, God bless you. Thank you. I mean, props to you. But at the same time, like, that would have been nice to get him.
Now, if that was their number one choice, right? Once again, the number one choices for Arsenal. I'm not saying they're always going to pan out because we've seen how some of them have played out.
You got to convince the player.
But you're at some point, Arteta's like got them interested, and that's why you're continuing to look into it. And at some point, somebody else has got to go in there and close the deal and seal the deal and make sure they want to come. And that's supposed to be Edu in my eyes. So if like I said, I feel like that one, and for the price and all of that, it was like, yeah, you go get him if that's what you want, and you roll out the red carpet, and you get him.
Oh, the red towel.
The red, what is it? The red towel.
Yep.
Yeah. No,
it's a tough one because you sell the player by paying them a lot of money. You either sell them on your project, or you sell them on who the club is, and what's going to motivate a player. It's a difficult thing. I mean, yeah, BX made a comment saying, I wonder if our summer business was impacted by Edu. It's hard for me to say yes or no to that because we still got Moreno and we still got Calafiori in. You can argue that the left wing was probably a settle on Sterling. Yep. I don't think he was their first choice.
Yeah,
I mean, the deal's good. I mean, $100K for him is really not a bad deal a week based on who the player is. But so that deal could have been a whole lot worse. You could have been paying all of the wages, 200.
Well, I don't think that would have happened. So
no, I don't think so either.
We would have been even in a worse situation because we wouldn't even had that as an option.
But it's a transition period, right? The women's team is going through a new manager. Edu's on the way out.
But that wasn't known until, until Erdogan got hurt. All right. I mean, none of this happened. Like, this isn't something that was planned. I mean, Jonas was maybe on his way out if he had a bad start, and he does. Yeah. Arteta is having a bad start.
And that's the thing. Jonas won a cup last year, right?
He's won a cup. Yeah, I think he's won. Has he won back to back or just the one?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'm not
he definitely won a cup last season, or if not the season before.
So it makes you wonder, though, when I say this, Gary. Like, are we about to see a transition at this club that we just don't know yet? That's something we really don't know right now. Yeah. There's trending. There's data saying, okay, well, Jonas gone. Wilshere just got promoted to Norwich's manager. I mean, granted, that's a promotion and that's an under 18s, but at the same time, like, that person's leaving, that person's leaving. Are we seeing potentially Arteta engulfing all the power? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing a conspiracy theory here, but there is a lot of moving pieces. And granted, the season's not over. I mean, listen, I think this is going to be one of those interesting years where Liverpool's going to drop points, City's going to drop points, Arsenal are done dropping points. I don't think you're going to need 90-some plus points to win the league this year with Rodri being out. I don't. I think 84 probably does it. That's just a guess. I'm just making this up as I go. But I do think that there are flaws in Liverpool, Arsenal, and City this year that we probably didn't see a couple of years ago. So we'll see. It's this season's not over. I want to make this clear. I'm not speaking for Tony or Gary on this. I'm speaking for myself. None of us are truly Arteta out right here, but there are worrying signs that have us alarmed and having discussions that we probably don't want to have November 4th, 2024. Not even 10 games into the season.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah. Rosie, no, we don't want any. We don't want. We want Tom to keep Arsenal's name out his mouth. All right. He doesn't. He predict he won't watch it, and we don't want him watching it. All right. Yeah. Is Dan the Is that the Gooner? The Gooner guy? I don't remember. I don't know. I forgot the name of the show. But yeah. Tony, you had something else you wanted to say on that?
No, I'm pretty much done with the topic. I'll touch a little bit on Spencer, thinking it might be just mass shakeups. I'm not sure if Arteta wants to be sure on or not, and have all the power. Have the power of the 9 rings. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. But I just think it's you just had an efficacy at the women's, and he had the fans. I mean, I'll cut. I'm really cutting it short by saying fans. You have former Arsenal players and everybody else being very underwhelmed with our signings this summer. So I think that kind of puts EDU's feet out on the coals, trying to walk out there to his Brazilian barbecue and hot lava rocks. But I really don't know. I think it's going to be Arteta out the door next, because if we go by what we've seen in years past, a lot of what he does is happy accidents, and you just look at the bench and you don't have options, and that's all Arteta. You have some young players out there that's doing better than the senior players. I mean, you could go to Skelly. Skelly's did more beneficial work than Jesus, and Skelly's probably making 5 to 10 grand, whatever he's making. It's ridiculous sum compared to that. But I think we're on the verge of seeing the players just down tools, and like I said, it's just so reminiscent of what happened 5 years ago. International October break, and third, we quickly hit 9th after we came back because the players just gave up on Emery. I think with this, you have more ineptness on Arteta, more than the players dropping tools, but I think now they're losing belief in Arteta, and you've seen what happened at United already this season. I don't like it. I hate it that these players can say, "Oh, I'm tired of you. I'm gonna stop playing for you," and you're gonna get sacked. I played like shit the last 8 weeks or however long it is, and I'm still getting my paycheck. But you're out of here, buddy, because I'm not playing for you.
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, I as some people said, maybe the players are hearing the same old, and they're getting it's just going in one ear and out the other, or or they just don't like the fact that they're being held back. I just wonder if there's a lot of no, don't do that. No, don't go outside the box. No, no. Don't take what the defense gives you. We know best. I mean, if you look at the way we play, no, like there's not when we get the ball in the middle, the first thought isn't maybe I can turn my man and take the ball up the pitch. Usually the first thought is maybe I can go back to the back line to the goalkeeper. Saw it multiple times, and I've seen it multiple times for a while now. Some of it's Rice, and I feel he's not confident in that position. But I see it a lot from all the players. Basically, first thought back. There was a passing chart, and it showed all the passing for Arsenal. Barely any in the final third, like below the 18. Barely any. A lot to the sides and back.
Did they list like 30, 40-yard passes, like longer passes? Did they list?
Oh, I didn't. I just saw the arrows, and it was just like barely anything. Slice. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. No, I mean, we've been saying I need rotation. I've been calling for rotation for years now, and that means the only way you can rotate is if you have the answers. And right now we're finding out we still don't have the answers. So you guys are going back and forth on whose team sucks, and they all suck. Yeah.
But while you're gathering your thoughts there, Gary, I think this is just something that we've seen for a while. You've seen Arteta just micromanage the hell out of these players. And you've seen it in the documentary. He's like, this is the way you're to play it. Maybe I take players in and take players out, stuff like that. But this is what we're going to do. And you have him constantly yelling at you. And I think the entire time, none of these players have had a go-ahead green card to be creative, to go for what they see on the field and go by their instincts. They just look so programmed because Arteta's so rigid. And I think that's be the little bridge that probably burns Arteta down, because he's just been unwilling to just say, hey, you guys are on the pitch, you guys are in control, and just let them play. So
yeah, no, I think a lot of it only works if you have the best players, right? You can have a structured plan, but you got to have the best players. When you see Saka, it works. Erdogan, it works. Rice, Partey, it works. But then there's other positions on the pitch not working so much, because guess what? They're not that good. I mean, I know like a lot of people talk about what Havertz is doing, and I think a lot of it's a lot of the hard work. But in reality, we need him scoring.
Do you know what the other problem is, Gary? I don't think players make runs. Like, you watch Havertz make runs, you watch Saka make runs. Some of these guys are just standing there, and no one's moving to the open space, creating more open space for other players. And that we could talk about Arteta, but you also have to have a football brain. You also have to know what you're doing out in the field, and you also have to see the field and see where you need to be. Right? Like, you used to talk about this all the time when you're coaching. Like, where's the open space? Where's the off-schedule stuff? Talking about the NFL all the time, quarterback on schedule, off schedule. Who's doing off-schedule stuff? Understanding like, hey, yeah, we're lined up right here, but there's a space between these two defenders. Maybe I should split this and not leave two defenders between me and the man.
At the start of the show, though, remember what you said?
No,
what did you say?
A lot tonight, Gary.
No, what you said is that we are expecting to be able to walk the ball in to the goal, and the only way that happens is if you don't have to. You can do all the things that it seems like we're trying to do, which is not really have to go outside the box. All right, like we're playing against cones, and the cones don't move, so you can just walk the ball right in. But guess what? We're not playing cones.
Nope,
you
we're
know?
not. And I do say there is some unfairness to us not giving the other teams credit at time too. I still think if you look at Bournemouth, gotta win against City, gotta win against Arsenal. That's massive for them. They deserve credit for that.
Yep.
Newcastle on Saturday deserves 100% credit for shutting down Arsenal. Shut them down.
Yep.
Locked up shop, got their first goal and said, you know what? You're not going to get on us. Those are two right there. You go to the Brighton game, we screwed that up. You go to the City game, we screwed that up. Where's the other result? I mean,
Liverpool, we screwed that up too.
Yeah. But again, I look at it like this. What do you think was going to happen when you lose Saliba and Gabriel? And
no, no. See, that's then that takes away from like what happened like when Liverpool was playing this weekend. The team they were playing didn't have a Saliba or a Timber to come off, or Gabriella, whatever, to come off the pitch. So I feel like that would be, for me anyways, an excuse, because you have to have a squad, and two, the same way that you just talked about it, you have to shut up shop, right? You don't take any risks, right? You make sure you play between man and ball, between man and goal, right? The entire time. Like, you don't let Salah just run through the box.
Yeah.
You don't let that happen. You can't let that happen. Like anything, you stop that. Because every time he cuts through, we see it. We saw that over the weekend. We saw it against us. You let him cut inside, just like if you let Saka cut inside, guess what happens? You in trouble.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
this is something we haven't seen. We've won games because of that. Saka cuts inside, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. The last thing you want to do is have him cut inside and go and continue to go towards the goal. You're beat.
I mean, yeah, it's listen, I mean, we sometimes, as much as we blame our team for doing wrong, we also have to give the other team credit.
Yeah.
I think
no. You know what?
Yeah, I don't think you're not doing that there. I just I think it's unfair of us to sit there and look at the Bournemouth game and be like, I think it's unfair, and as Arsenal fans, sometimes the badge, we're like, the badge will win us the game. No, you got to perform.
We are not that team yet.
Nowhere near it. We thought we were heading that direction, but we are
not that team yet. We can come to play. We've seen it, but we're not that team yet. It is it's well after the time. We're almost 100 minutes into this thing. I'm gonna let everybody have their say as we get out of here. Tony, you can talk as long as you want. Go ahead. We're gonna get out of here.
Can I go to the upside down world?
If you want to. Yeah, how about it?
He's just stepping on a ceiling. He's not upside down.
Are you sure?
This is how the show would have started if I'd let him, but I didn't want to do that.
I'm not sure of anything anymore.
I think you said it'd be funny if I turn it to there, but no, there I am.
Well, there you go, folks. This is how the show would have started. I don't think I could have looked at him the entire show. But go ahead, Tony. Talk to the people.
Yeah, we ended up having a topsy-turvy weekend.
Yep, and your camera is on that.
Kind of the last couple of weeks. Now you have Arteta finally getting some pressure. You have EDU bidding adieu to us. So it's the timing's so weird on that thing. I'm just curious what after talks would be about that. What really transpired. But it's time for the players to go out there and prove they deserve the paychecks they're getting paid. I hate these players that they have the power to get rid of these managers. I'm by far not Arteta's biggest fan, but I don't agree with players not going out and playing for the badge, playing for the money they get paid. It just, I don't like it. I don't like it when it started happened to Wenger. Then it got worse with Emery. And now it looks like it's starting to happen with Arteta. I don't think it's just injuries. I think things are starting to pile up. So we'll see if the players determine Arteta's fate within the next few weeks or not. But I just want the players to go out there and play for 90 minutes. That game's not 45 minutes or 20 minutes. Just go out there and play an entire fucking match, and I'll be happy. I don't care if we lose 5-0 at this point. Just go out and play football.
Yeah. I'm with you on a lot of what you're saying there. Yeah, and Spencer with the international relations.
We'll see how gravity works with me drinking this Coke.
He was inverted about 2 meters. So
all right, Spencer, talk to the people.
Yeah. Hey, people. Enjoy your Monday. Well, what's left of it? I don't know. Tuesday, whatever, wherever you are in the world. Oh, thank you. Google Alexa decided to say same to me as well. So, that was creepy. She's been listening the whole time. So we're all going on a watch list here in America. You guys in the UK, you're on a watch list too. So congratulations. But anyway, yeah, just we'll see what happens this week. Like I said, I know it feels like it's been a little bit negative tonight, but at the same time, it's been a negative week. It's hard to. I mean, we had the Carabao Cup, which it was a good result. There was a lot of positives there, but we didn't take the positives from the Carabao Cup and integrate it in the league. I mean, Newcastle away is a tough spot. I get it, but just be better, do better, be better. There's expectations there. Try to fulfill them. That's it.
There you go. Yep. So we're starting a tough stretch for us. We've lost this first one. We got Inter, Chelsea, and Nottingham Forest in our next 3 matches. Got an international break in the middle of that. We need to come out of that as unscathed as possible. We beat Chelsea and we beat Nottingham Forest. We're back in the top 3. With control of our the thing about we're playing Inter, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, and Sporting. All 4 teams sitting above us in the table that we're trying to move up in. These games are important. Very, very important. Arteta needs to pull out his bag of tricks, and winning the next 4 games would be really important to where we stand. See if he's actually got it in him. But Inter, yes, it's a tough team, and then Chelsea, they're both away, but and Sporting's away as well. We have to be able to play better on the road. Can't be taking L's for sure. I could see a really bad stretch if things go really bad for us. But this is where we are. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're going to head out of here. We'll do this again next week. Hopefully, we've got some good things to say about the Inter game and prepared for the. And then we'll talk about the Chelsea match as well, right? So,
I feel like I'm one of the lost boys, Gary.
You are definitely lost. Let's just say that.
Hanging off the Ferris wheel.
Yeah. All right, people. We'll be back. We'll do this again. Thanks for joining. If you haven't already, hit the likes and subscribe, and we'll do this thing again.
Oh, and, no hands, Gary. No hands.
I see it. How in the world are you doing that? But we'll be back, everybody. Enjoy. And as I like to say, life is a journey. Don't waste your trip. Enjoy the ride. There you go.